Hello and welcome to One on One. I'm Vernon Ramazar, and my guest today is Mr. Daniel Lambert, who's the co-chairman of the Nigeria TNT Chamber. Mr. Lambert, welcome to the program.
Pleasure.
Thank you for being here. Let me start by asking you, why is there a need for a Nigeria TNT Chamber, and why now?
I think, one, they have been in Trinidad more than 40 years now, so there is an interest. There is a significant Nigerian population in Trinidad and Tobago. You know, there are a lot of Nigerian doctors that are here. And we at a point where our expertise and technology is really needed in the high growth sectors in Nigeria. As I indicated before, the question of oil and gas, the gas more so, the question of asphalt also provides that opportunity. So that would we expect that we would have a favorable balance of trade with Nigeria? I don't think so in the coming 5-10 years, just because, as you're correct, just the mere size of the market. But could we do better? I think we should be able to. I give you a case in point. When we looked at the negative balance of trade in 2006, our exports to Nigeria was just around 400 million. And they were about 2.4 billion. And the same trend was in 2007. So I'm saying we are starting from a perspective where our exports is low. If we are able to increase that, which certainly we would be able to do, it means the opportunity for foreign exchange coming in. So it balances, gives us a bit of balance in it. And what it does, too, is lead to employment. Because once we're able to be exporting, then there's a cadre of people that comes into the loop now, and that improves the employment level right in Trinidad. So that it is, I don't think the expectation is that we will turn it around, but certainly there will be activity that would be happening.
And there will be multiple benefits.
Oh yes, oh yes.
As we look at the two development models, Trinidad and Tobago and Nigeria, both nations are interesting analogies, both energy-driven largely, blessed with resources in that regard. And yet, Nigeria, because of its sheer size, has obviously lagged behind a little bit in reaching the development level that we've reached here, although we still have a ways to go as well. Do you think we can, to some extent, be feeding into the development model of Nigeria so they can look at how we have?
Oh yes, you're very correct with that. And if I take the energy sector as a case in point, recent times, I think probably about 2 weeks ago, we had Prince Billy Gillis-Harry, who is the vice chairman of NASIMA, which is the chamber that overlooks oil and gas in Nigeria, was in Trinidad. We were able to take him to meet with the National Gas Company. We also had meetings with Phoenix Gas and Petrotrin. And in the case of the NGC, what was the attraction was the development of point leases. And the question as to how such a model could be rolled out in Nigeria. And certainly that is one of the opportunities we'll be looking at. There have been interests before also with different states in Nigeria with respect to our asphalt. We hope we could bring those discussions back on the table. And again, there is an opportunity for the developmental model. There's a huge opportunity that follows when we enter in the country, into Nigeria in those areas, because then transfer technology becomes important. And therefore educational opportunities come in. So you're very correct. What we are looking at is a case where Nigeria, because of how gifted they are in natural resources and how similar the economies are in terms of the natural resources, and because of our experience, that we could take that technology there and partner in that particular way. And that will really be the emphasis of the chamber, looking to transfer that technology into Nigeria, in the energy sector, and by extension, of course, other areas. And we hope that in those areas we do significant with our entrepreneurs in Trinidad when they get across there.
In terms of business risk, I know there is some instability in parts of Nigeria.
Yeah.
Is that something to be factored into any business decision?
Yeah.
I know certainly in some of the energy producing states, there is an outcry.
Oh yes, oh yes.
For greater control of their own resources.
You're correct. And that is so, the energy producing states is basically about 9 states, the Niger Delta area. And more so, historically in Nigeria, was when it was under military rule. Over the last 20 years or so, that have changed. But even like in Trinidad, because if, for example, we look at what I want to call the rich parts of Trinidad in terms of natural resources, at the Point Fortin in particular, with oil and gas, St. Patrick, you find that the development in those towns have lagged behind, let's say, nationally in Trinidad. And it has always been a critique in areas that provide or have resources in oil and gas. It is the same in Nigeria, and that has been some of the reasons for the unrest in the Niger Delta area, because of the level of poverty.
Has been quite violent sometimes.
Oh yes, oh yes. The level of poverty, the gap is extremely large. And in recent times, there have been efforts now to address that. And this is where really the chamber sees itself in conjunction with His Excellency in Nigeria, setting a counterpart in Nigeria, which will be the Trinidad and Tobago Nigeria Chamber. And it is intended that via that mechanism, you could provide or create the know-how so that investors have a guided path for entry into Nigeria. So that we are able to educate them on in the areas that might be of risk, that they may need to hedge when they look at the investment.
Risk assessment is part of the Chamber's mandate too.
Yes, oh yes. We would seek to do that to guide investors in those areas.
I mean, are there other headaches that would be associated with getting into business in Nigeria?
Sorry?
Are there any other major headaches that a business person here might not be familiar with that they may encounter?
Right. Well, I think one of the things that we need to treat with is culture, because in Nigeria you would have different ethnic groups and would have their own culture. One of the good things is that they all speak English. English is the primary language. So I think it would not be what business people will need to cross a hurdle in would be very similar to if they go into any new country, where they would need to study the country, they would need to be aware of the regulation that is there. They will need to be aware, what I want to say is the way business is done there, right? So I think that is where the chamber role will have to come in. I think once we're able to do that, it will give businessmen that opportunity. Of course, as in any country though, there would be areas that become challenging. And really that becomes the task of the chambers, to reduce those areas.
So you're really bridging two business cultures then?
Oh yes, I think given a strong cultural link exists, of course there's a difference in the culture. And looking to take advantage of the opportunities that exist, and at the same time helping both countries to better understand each other and the way each other do business is really one of the key things that we need. Education becomes important in the whole process.
Well, the chamber is, of course, a fairly recent development.
Oh, yes.
I mean, what's next in terms of setting up the infrastructure that you plan to leverage? Great.
The chamber was established on the 19th of February, so it's quite young. What we are doing now, the way the chamber is structured, there's a board of advisors consisting of eminent people in Trinidad and in Nigeria. The board of advisors advise the board of directors. They are also honorary members, and they are council members. Councils are established in each area that we think is significant for business relationship. So there's a council that deals with culture, transportation, the energy sector, tourism, trade, we have councils there. Of course, we then have the membership council that is involved. Now, what we are doing now is putting all the systems in place, building the relationships between the group. The board meets, in fact, the board meets later this week, where at that point we're going to look at both short, medium, long-term goals. One of the things that become priority to the board is the bilateral aid agreement. We'll be looking at that and seeing to what extent that could be pushed along with the relevant
Is it absolutely essential to have that air bridge there?
We think it's critical.
We
think it's critical. If you look at it now, if a person is to fly 9 hours to London and choose to overnight or continue another 5 hours to Nigeria, it's just long. It's costly to do it. That is something we have earmarked in this year as a priority.
So you think it'll be up and running by this year?
We very much would be pushing in that direction. We think the protocol agreement have really advanced it. I think what is necessary now is putting the mechanism to implement it on both ends, on Nigeria, on Trinidad, and then, of course, looking at the economics. Because if we look at Trinidad as being the hub, we have all the way Jamaica coming down. If we look at Nigeria as the hub, not only in Nigeria, but you have Ghana, etc., could come directly here. That we think is one of the first things. What we are also focusing on, and hopefully by July of this year, is that our counterpart organization would be established in Nigeria. So that allows a lot of communication to take place between businessmen in Nigeria, businessmen on the Trinidad end. The other area that we are looking at soon is to create a business-to-business meeting between via charter to Nigeria. The intention is if we could do that first charter that takes that flight direct, we are able to get the process going. So those are some of the areas that we have earmarked in the short term for the chamber, as we also look for particular business opportunities.
Okay, but we're out of time, Mr. Lambert, shockingly. Yes. It sounds like exciting times ahead for TNT-Nigeria relations.
Yes.
So we'll be keeping a close eye on you and the chamber to see what comes of it. Thank you so much for being on the program. A pleasure.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Pleasure is mine.
You've been watching One on One. Join us again tomorrow for another edition.